Marcus Chen wiped the sweat from his forehead as he finished cleaning the last therapy table in his small clinic. The old building wasn't much to look at, but it was his. After years of working for other people, he finally had his own place where he could help people get better. The paint was peeling in some corners and the equipment was older than he would like, but Marcus made it work. His phone rang just as he was about to lock up for the day. The voice on the other end was sharp and commanding. "I need to bring my daughter in for therapy. Tomorrow at 10. The man didn't wait for Marcus to check his schedule or ask questions. He just gave his name as Victor Kozlov and hung up. Marcus knew that name. Everyone in the city knew Victor Kozlov. He owned factories, office buildings, and half the restaurants downtown. People said he was very rich but not very nice. Marcus had never met him, but he had heard stories. Victor was the kind of man who got what he wanted, no matter who got hurt along the way. The next morning, Marcus arrived early to make sure everything was perfect. He cleaned the windows again and arranged his certificates on the wall. He wanted to make a good impression. Rich clients could help keep his clinic running. At exactly 10 o'clock, a big black car pulled up outside. The driver got out first and opened the back door. Victor Kozlov stepped out, and Marcus could see why people were afraid of him. He was tall and wore an expensive suit. His face looked like it never smiled. His gray hair was perfectly combed, and his shoes probably cost more than Marcus made in a month. But it was the young woman who caught Marcus's attention. She was sitting in a wheelchair next to the car, waiting. She had long dark hair and was wearing a simple dress. She looked to be about 19 or 20 years old. Her face was pretty, but her eyes looked sad and tired. She stared at the ground while her father talked loudly on his phone, completely ignoring her. Marcus walked outside to meet them. "Mr. Kozlov, I'm Marcus Chen. I'm glad you came." Victor barely looked at him. He was still on his phone, speaking in a harsh voice to someone about a business deal. He waved his hand at his daughter as if she was a piece of furniture. "This is Elena. Fix her." Marcus felt uncomfortable. He had worked with many families, and he knew that healing took time, patience, and care. It also took family support. But Victor seemed more interested in his phone call than his daughter. Elena finally looked up at Marcus. Her eyes were brown and intelligent, but they looked empty, like she had given up hope a long time ago. She didn't speak, just nodded slightly when Marcus introduced himself. "Let's go inside," Marcus said gently. He held the door open while Elena wheeled herself in. Victor followed, still talking on his phone. The clinic felt smaller with Victor in it. His presence filled the room like a dark cloud. Marcus tried to focus on Elena, asking her about her injury and what kind of therapy she had tried before. Her answers were short and quiet. "Car accident," she said. 2 years ago. "I can't walk anymore," Marcus nodded. He had worked with many people who had similar injuries. Some got better, some didn't, but all of them needed hope and support. "Tell me about your daily routine. What do you do for exercise?" Elena looked at her father, who was pacing around the room while yelling at someone on his phone. "Not much," she whispered. "I stay home mostly." This worried Marcus. People who didn't move or exercise got weaker over time. Their muscles got smaller and their bones got brittle. But more than that, staying home alone all day was bad for the mind and heart. Victor finally ended his phone call and looked around the clinic with obvious displeasure. "This place is small," he said. "Are you sure you can help her?" "I've helped many people with similar injuries," Marcus replied calmly. "But recovery takes time and hard work. Elena will need to come here regularly and she'll need support at home too." Victor made a sound like he was annoyed. "Support? She has everything she needs. Food, a roof, a wheelchair. What more does she want?" Marcus felt his chest tighten with anger, but he kept his voice steady. "She needs encouragement. She needs someone to believe in her. Recovery isn't just about the body. The mind and spirit need to heal too." "The mind and spirit," Victor repeated, laughing in a way that wasn't happy. "Listen to this guy, Elena. He thinks you have spirit." He looked at his daughter like she was something broken that couldn't be fixed. "She's been useless for 2 years. Sits around all day, costs me money, doesn't do anything productive." Elena's face turned red, but she didn't say anything. She just stared at her hands in her lap. Marcus wanted to tell Victor to stop talking, but he knew that wouldn't help Elena. Victor's phone rang again. He answered it immediately, walking to the other side of the room. While he talked, Marcus knelt down next to Elena's wheelchair so he could speak to her quietly. "Don't listen to him," Marcus said softly. You're not useless. You're here and you're alive, and that means there's hope. Elena looked up at him with surprise. You don't know me, she whispered. You're right, I don't know you yet. But I know that everyone has value. Everyone has something special inside them. Sometimes it just takes time to find it. For the first time since she arrived, Elena's face showed a little emotion. Her eyes looked less empty, like a small light had been turned on somewhere inside. Victor finished his phone call and walked back over to them. He looked at Marcus with cold eyes. So how long will this take? When will she be walking again? Marcus stood up. Mr. Kozlov, I need to be honest with you. Elena's injury is serious. She may never walk again, but that doesn't mean she can't have a good life. Physical therapy can help her get stronger. It can help her do more things on her own. But the most important thing is helping her believe in herself again. Victor's face got red with anger. I'm not paying you to be a cheerleader. I'm paying you to fix her legs. Some things can't be fixed, Marcus said carefully, but they can be made better. Elena is a person, not a broken machine. Victor stared at Marcus for a long moment. Then he looked at Elena, and his face showed nothing but disappointment. 2 years, he said slowly. 2 years I've been waiting for her to get better, to do something useful, to stop being a burden. Elena's shoulders started to shake, but she didn't cry. Marcus could see that she was used to hearing these words. Victor pulled out his phone again and made a quick call. When he finished, he looked at Marcus with a strange smile. You know what? You think she has so much potential? You think everyone has value? Fine, she's yours. What? Marcus said, not understanding. I'm done with her. She's your problem now. Victor reached into his jacket and pulled out a checkbook. He wrote something quickly and tore out the check. This should cover her care for a while. Maybe you can find this special value you're talking about. Marcus stared at the check, then at Victor, then at Elena. Elena looked like someone had hit her in the face. Her father was giving her away like she was an old piece of furniture he didn't want anymore. Mr. Kozlov, you can't just, I can do whatever I want. Victor interrupted. She's an adult. She can make her own choices. Elena, do you want to come home with me and continue being useless, or do you want to stay here with your new friend who thinks you're so valuable? Elena looked at her father, then at Marcus. Her eyes were full of pain and confusion. She started to say, but no more words came out. Victor didn't wait for an answer. He walked toward the door. Her things are in the car. The driver will bring them in. He stopped at the door and looked back one more time. Good luck, he said to Marcus. You're going to need it. And then he was gone, leaving Marcus and Elena alone in the small clinic, staring at each other in shocked silence. The first night was the hardest. Marcus had never expected to have someone living in his clinic, but he couldn't just leave Elena on the street. There was a small apartment above the therapy rooms that he sometimes used when he worked late. It had a bed, a tiny kitchen, and a bathroom that was just big enough for a wheelchair. Elena sat by the window, staring out at the street below. She hadn't said much since her father left. The driver had brought in 2 suitcases and a box of her things, then drove away without looking back. Marcus tried to make conversation, but Elena only answered with short words like yes or no or okay. Are you hungry? Marcus asked. I can order some food. I'm fine, Elena said quietly. You should eat something. It's been a long day. Elena turned her wheelchair to face him. Why are you doing this? You don't even know me. Marcus sat down in the old chair across from her. Because it's the right thing to do. No one should be thrown away like garbage. My father thinks I'm garbage. Your father is wrong. Elena looked at him with tired eyes. How do you know? Maybe he's right. Maybe I really am useless. Marcus felt angry again, but not at Elena. He was angry at Victor for making his own daughter believe such terrible things about herself. Elena, can I tell you something? I've been doing physical therapy for 10 years. I've worked with hundreds of people. Some of them could walk again, some couldn't. But the ones who did best weren't always the ones with the least serious injuries. They were the ones who didn't give up on themselves. I gave up a long time ago, Elena whispered. Maybe. But you're still here. That means part of you hasn't given up yet. Over the next few days, Marcus learned more about Elena's life. She had been studying economics in college when the accident happened. She was smart and had been getting good grades. But after the accident, her father had pulled her out of school. He said it was a waste of money to educate someone who couldn't work. Elena spent most of her days alone in her father's big house. She had nurses who helped her with basic things, but no friends visited. Her father was always traveling for business. When he was home, he acted like she wasn't there. "What did you like to study most?" Marcus asked one morning while they ate breakfast together. "Numbers," Elena said. "I liked figuring out how businesses work, how money moves, how to solve problems." "That sounds interesting. Can you give me an example?" Elena's face changed a little. For the first time in days, she looked interested in something. "Well, like this clinic. You have good equipment and you help people, but you're not making enough money." Marcus was surprised. "How do you know that?" "I can see it. Your equipment is old but well-maintained, which means you can't afford to replace it, but you take care of what you have. Your appointment book isn't full, but you work long hours, which means you're doing extra things to make ends meet. And you live above your clinic instead of having a separate home, which means you're saving money on rent." Marcus stared at her. She had figured all of that out just by watching and listening for a few days. "You're right. Business has been slow lately." "Why?" Marcus thought about it. "I guess people don't know I'm here. And the big hospitals have their own therapy departments. It's hard to compete." Elena wheeled her chair over to his desk and looked at his appointment book and his bills. "Can I see your patient files?" "Not the medical parts, just the scheduling and payment information." Marcus was curious about what she was thinking. He showed her the files, and Elena studied them carefully. She made notes on a piece of paper, drawing charts and writing numbers. After an hour, she looked up at him. "You're doing everything backwards," she said. "What do you mean?" "You're trying to compete with the hospitals by being cheaper, but that makes people think you're not as good. And you're accepting patients who can't pay much, but you're not getting enough patients who can pay full price to make up for it." Marcus felt a little defensive. "I became a therapist to help people, not to make money." "You can do both," Elena said. "But right now you're not helping as many people as you could because you don't have enough money to grow your business." She showed him her notes. "Look at this. Your best results come from patients who have been here for more than 6 weeks. But most of your patients stop coming after 3 or 4 weeks because they think they should be better by then." "How did you figure that out?" "I looked at your success stories and compared them to your average treatment length." The pattern is clear. Marcus was amazed. Elena had spotted problems in his business that he hadn't even realized existed. "So what should I do?" Elena's eyes got brighter. "First, you need to educate people about how long real recovery takes. Second, you need to show them proof that your methods work better than the hospital programs. And third, you need to find a way to get more referrals from doctors." Over the next week, Elena helped Marcus reorganize his filing system and create better patient tracking forms. She designed a simple chart that showed patients their progress over time, so they could see they were getting better even when it felt slow. "You should also start a newsletter," Elena said one afternoon. "Send it to all the doctors in town. Include success stories and information about new therapy techniques." "I don't know how to write a newsletter." "I do," Elena said. "I can write it for you." Marcus watched Elena work on the newsletter. She wrote clearly and convincingly about the benefits of long-term physical therapy. She included quotes from happy patients and statistics about recovery rates. When she finished, it looked professional and interesting. "This is really good," Marcus said. "Where did you learn to write like this?" "I used to help my father with his business reports before the accident. I was good at explaining complicated things in simple ways." "Your father let you help with his business?" Elena's face got sad again. "He used to say I had a good head for business. He was going to let me work for his company after college." She paused. "Before I became useless." "Elena, you're not useless. Look at what you've done here in just 1 week. You've helped me understand my business better than I understood it after 10 years. Elena looked around the clinic. "It feels good to be useful again." I forgot what that felt like. The newsletter worked. 3 doctors called to refer patients to Marcus. 2 new patients scheduled appointments. Elena answered the phone and scheduled the appointments, and Marcus noticed that she was good at talking to people. She was patient and kind, and she asked the right questions. "You have a nice voice on the phone," Marcus told her. "You make people feel comfortable." "My father used to say I was too soft for business," Elena said. "He said I cared too much about people's feelings. That's not a weakness. That's a strength. People trust you because you care." One evening, while Elena was helping Marcus clean the therapy equipment, she stopped working and looked at him. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Why do you really care about me?" "I mean, my own father doesn't want me." "Why would a stranger?" Marcus put down the towel he was holding. Elena, your father is wrong about you. Maybe he can't see your value because he's too focused on what he thinks you should be, instead of seeing what you actually are. What am I? You're smart. You're kind. You see problems and find solutions. You care about other people. You're brave even when you don't feel brave. I don't feel brave, but you are. You're here, working, helping, trying to build something new after your whole life fell apart. That takes courage. Elena was quiet for a moment. I never thought of it that way. Maybe it's time to start thinking about yourself differently. That night, Elena stayed up late working on ideas for the clinic. She made lists of ways to improve patient care and increase business. She researched other successful physical therapy practices and took notes on what made them work. When Marcus came downstairs in the morning, he found Elena asleep at the desk, surrounded by papers covered with charts and plans and ideas. He looked at her work and realized that she had created a complete business plan for expanding the clinic. For the first time since her father had abandoned her, Elena had found something that made her feel alive and valuable. And for the first time in years, Marcus felt hopeful about the future of his clinic. He made coffee quietly and started reading Elena's plans. Every page showed him something new about the young woman his business instincts had told him to help. She wasn't broken at all. She had just been buried under other people's expectations. Now she was starting to dig herself out. 3 months had passed since Elena's father left her at the clinic. The small therapy center was busier than it had ever been. Elena's newsletter brought in new patients every week. Her scheduling system made everything run smoothly. But Marcus could see that Elena wanted something more. She spent her free time reading business books and watching online college lectures on her laptop. When patients weren't around, she would study economics and finance. Marcus often found her making notes and solving practice problems late into the night. Elena, Marcus said one morning, have you thought about going back to school? Elena looked up from her textbook. I can't afford college, and my father won't pay for it now. There are online programs. Some of them have financial aid. You could study while still helping me here. Elena's face showed interest, but also fear. What if I'm not smart enough anymore? I've been out of school for 2 years. What if I've forgotten how to be a student? Marcus sat down next to her. Elena, you redesigned my entire business in 1 week. You understand numbers and systems better than most people who have business degrees. I think you'll do just fine. Elena was quiet for a moment. I used to love school. I used to dream about having my own business someday. What kind of business? I wanted to help other businesses run better, like what I did here, but for lots of different companies. Elena's eyes got brighter as she talked. I had this idea about using technology to help small businesses compete with big companies. That sounds like a great idea. My father said it was stupid. He said small businesses fail because they deserve to fail. He said only big companies matter. Marcus shook his head. Your father was wrong about a lot of things. Small businesses are important. They help people and create jobs. They make communities stronger. That evening, Elena applied for online college courses. She was nervous but excited. Marcus helped her with the application and wrote a letter of recommendation. He told the school about Elena's natural business skills and how she had transformed his clinic. 2 weeks later, Elena got accepted into an online business program. She also qualified for financial aid. When the acceptance letter came, she cried for the first time since her father had left her. These are happy tears, she told Marcus. I forgot what happy tears felt like. Elena started her classes while continuing to help run the clinic. She was a good student, but more than that, she was hungry to learn. She read every assignment twice and asked thoughtful questions during online discussions. Her professors noticed her right away. The clinic kept growing too. Elena's marketing ideas brought in more patients. She created a website and started a social media page. She designed flyers and organized community health events. Marcus had to hire 2 part-time therapists to help with all the new patients. I never imagined the clinic could be this busy, Marcus told Elena one day. This is just the beginning, Elena said. I have more ideas. She showed him her latest project. She had been studying other therapy clinics online and noticed that most of them had the same problem Marcus used to have. They focused on treating injuries, but they didn't help patients understand how to stay healthy after therapy ended. What if we created a program that teaches people how to prevent injuries? Elena suggested. We could offer classes for office workers who sit all day, or athletes who want to avoid getting hurt. That's a great idea. But I don't have space for classes, Elena smiled. I found a solution for that too. The community center has a room they're not using. We could rent it 2 evenings a week. I already talked to them about the price. Marcus was amazed. You called the community center? I hope that's okay. I told them I was working with you to expand the clinic services. It's more than okay. I'm impressed. The prevention classes started a month later. Elena helped design the curriculum and handled all the scheduling and payments. The classes filled up quickly. People loved learning how to take care of their bodies before they got injured. Elena also started working on a bigger project. She was designing a new kind of therapy program that would use computers and special equipment to help people recover faster. It was based on research she had found in medical journals combined with her own ideas about motivation and goal setting. Most therapy programs focus on what people can't do, Elena explained to Marcus. My program focuses on what they can do and helps them do more of it each day. Elena presented her idea at her online school as a class project. Her professor was so impressed that he asked her to present it at a virtual conference for healthcare professionals. Elena was nervous about speaking to experts, but Marcus encouraged her to do it. You know more about this than anyone, he told her. You've lived it, studied it, and improved it. You're the expert now. The presentation went well. Several people asked Elena for more information about her program. 2 other therapy clinics wanted to try her methods. A medical equipment company asked if she would consult with them on developing new tools. Elena was becoming known in the rehabilitation field, but she was still legally connected to her father. She needed to change that. With Marcus's help, she found a lawyer who helped her become legally independent from Victor. She also changed her last name from Kozlov to Chen, honoring the man who had become like family to her. Are you sure about this? Marcus asked when Elena told him about the name change. It's a big decision. You're more of a father to me than he ever was, Elena said. You believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. You gave me a chance to become who I was meant to be. Meanwhile, Victor's business empire was falling apart. Marcus heard rumors around town that Victor had made some bad investments and lost a lot of money. His companies were struggling and some of his employees were quitting. People who used to fear Victor now whispered that his luck had run out. One evening, Marcus was locking up the clinic when he saw a familiar black car parked across the street. Victor was sitting inside, watching the building. Marcus could see him through the windshield, but Victor didn't get out of the car. After a few minutes, he drove away. The next week, Elena received a letter at the clinic. It was from her father. She stared at the envelope for a long time before opening it. What does it say? Marcus asked. Elena's hand shook a little as she read the letter. He wants to meet with me. He says he's been following my success and wants to talk. What do you want to do? Elena folded the letter and put it back in the envelope. I don't know. Part of me wants to see him and show him how wrong he was about me. But part of me is afraid that seeing him will bring back all the old feelings of being worthless. You're not the same person you were when he left you here, Marcus reminded her. You've grown stronger. You've proven your worth to yourself, not just to other people. Elena thought about it for several days. Finally, she decided to meet with her father, but she wanted to do it at the clinic on her own territory, with Marcus nearby for support. She called her father and set up the meeting for the following week. After she hung up the phone, she looked at Marcus with determination in her eyes. Whatever he says, whatever he wants, I'm not the broken girl he threw away, she said. I'm Elena Chen now. I'm a businesswoman, a student, and someone who helps other people. I built this life myself with help from someone who actually cared about me. Marcus smiled proudly. I can't wait for him to meet the real you. Elena spent the week preparing for the meeting like it was a business presentation. She organized reports showing the clinic's growth, copies of her college grades, and articles about her therapy program. She wanted her father to see exactly what he had missed by giving up on her. She also prepared emotionally. She practiced what she would say and how she would stay calm and professional. She reminded herself that she didn't need her father's approval anymore. She had built her own success and her own family. The meeting was scheduled for Friday afternoon. Elena was nervous but ready. She had come so far from the scared, hopeless girl who had been abandoned at the clinic. Now she was ready to face the man who had tried to throw her away and show him exactly what he had lost. Friday afternoon came sooner than Elena expected. She had spent the morning organizing her presentation materials and checking her appearance in the mirror 3 times. She wore a professional blue dress and had her hair pulled back neatly. Marcus noticed she kept touching the small pendant around her neck, a gift he had given her when she graduated from her online business program with honors. "You look ready," Marcus said, bringing her a cup of tea to calm her nerves. "I feel like I'm going to throw up," Elena admitted. "What if seeing him makes me feel small again?" "Look around you," Marcus said, gesturing to the busy clinic. "Look at what you built. Look at all the people you've helped. You're not small, Elena, you're powerful." At exactly 3 o'clock, the same black car pulled up outside. Elena watched from the window as Victor got out. He looked older than she remembered. His expensive suit couldn't hide the fact that he had lost weight, and there were new lines around his eyes. His hair was more gray than black now. Victor walked slowly to the clinic door, looking around at the busy parking lot and the new sign that read, "Chen Rehabilitation Center, Excellence in Recovery." Elena had insisted on putting Marcus's name first when they expanded, even though her ideas had driven most of the growth. Elena positioned herself behind the reception desk when Victor entered. She wanted to be sitting up straight, looking professional and in control. Marcus stood nearby, ready to support her but letting her handle the meeting. Victor stopped when he saw her. His mouth opened slightly as if he was surprised. Elena realized he was seeing her for the first time as an adult professional rather than as his broken daughter. "Hello, Father," Elena said calmly. Her voice didn't shake. "Elena." Victor looked around the clinic, taking in the modern equipment, the full waiting room, and the professional atmosphere. "This place looks different." "It is different. We've grown a lot in the past 3 years." Victor's eyes narrowed when she said we. "And who is we?" "Marcus and I, we're business partners now. I handle the administration, marketing, and program development. He handles the medical side." "Program development," Victor repeated. "What kind of programs?" Elena felt a flutter of pride. "I created a new rehabilitation method that combines traditional physical therapy with psychological support and technology. It's being used in 12 clinics across 3 states now. I also developed an injury prevention program that we teach to local businesses." Victor stared at her. "You did this?" "Yes, I did this." Victor was quiet for a moment. Then he looked at Marcus with something that might have been anger or might have been confusion. "And you let her?" Marcus stepped forward. "I didn't let her do anything. Elena built this herself. I just provided support and believed in her abilities." "Her abilities," Victor said the words like they tasted strange. "Elena, I came here to talk to you about something important." "I'm listening." Victor pulled out a chair and sat down heavily. For the first time, Elena realized that her father looked tired and defeated. "My businesses are failing," he said quietly. "I made some bad investments. I trusted the wrong people. I'm losing everything." Elena kept her face neutral, but inside she felt a mix of satisfaction and sadness. "I'm sorry to hear that. I've been watching you," Victor continued. "Reading about you in the business papers. People talk about the success of this place. They talk about your innovative programs and your business sense. And," Victor looked directly at her, "I want you to come back. Help me save my companies. You clearly have skills I didn't recognize before." Elena felt her heart beating faster, but not with excitement. With anger. "You want me to come back and help you?" "Yes, you're my daughter. Family should help each other." Elena stood up from her wheelchair and moved closer to her father. Over the past 3 years, she had regained some strength in her upper body and had learned to transfer herself confidently. She was no longer the weak, hopeless girl he had abandoned. "Family should help each other," she repeated. "That's interesting coming from you. Elena, I know I made mistakes." "Mistakes?" Elena's voice got louder. "You threw me away like garbage. You told me I was useless. You said I was damaged goods. You abandoned your own daughter because I couldn't walk anymore." Victor shifted uncomfortably in his chair. "I was frustrated. I didn't handle the situation well. But you've proven that you're capable now. You can walk away from this small clinic and help build something bigger." "Walk away?" Elena laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "This small clinic employs 15 people now. We help over 200 patients every month. We're opening a second location next year, and you want me to walk away from it to save your failing businesses? You could have so much more. Real money. Real power." Elena shook her head. "I have real money and real power. But more importantly, I have something you never gave me. I have respect. I have people who value me for who I am, not for what I can do for them. Marcus watched the conversation with growing admiration for Elena. She was handling her father with strength and dignity he had always known she possessed. Victor tried a different approach. Elena, I know I wasn't a good father to you after the accident. But I'm here now. I'm asking for help. Doesn't that mean something? You're not here because you care about me, Elena said firmly. You're here because you need something from me, just like you always were. The only difference is that now you think I'm useful. That's not true, isn't it? Where were you when I was learning to live with my disability? Where were you when I was fighting depression and learning to believe in myself again? Where were you when I was studying for my degree and building this business? Victor had no answer. Elena continued. You were busy with your empire, thinking I was worthless. The only reason you're here now is because your empire is falling apart and you think I can fix it for you. I made mistakes, but I'm still your father. No, Elena said quietly but firmly. You stopped being my father the day you gave me away. Marcus became my father. He's the one who believed in me, supported me, and helped me become who I am today. Victor looked at Marcus with hatred. You poisoned her against me. Marcus shook his head. I didn't have to poison her against you. You did that yourself. Elena moved her wheelchair so she was directly in front of her father. Let me show you what you missed. She rolled over to a file cabinet and pulled out a thick folder. Inside were newspaper articles about her rehabilitation programs, letters from patients thanking her for changing their lives, certificates from business organizations recognizing her innovations, and photos of the clinic's growth over 3 years. This is what I built, Elena said, spreading the materials on the desk. Not because I'm trying to prove anything to you, but because I found something I love doing and I'm good at it. Victor looked through the materials slowly. Elena could see surprise and maybe even pride in his eyes, but it was too late for that to matter to her. I also want to show you something else, Elena said. She pulled out another folder. These are the legal papers that made me independent from you 3 years ago. And this is the document that officially changed my name to Elena Chen. Victor stared at the papers. You changed your name? Marcus earned the right to be called my father. You lost that right when you abandoned me. Victor was quiet for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was small and defeated. What if I apologize? What if I admit I was wrong about everything? Elena looked at him with something that might have been pity. An apology doesn't change 3 years of building a life without you. It doesn't change the fact that you only want me now because you need something from me. But I'm your father. I gave you life. You gave me life, Elena agreed. But Marcus gave me a reason to live. There's a difference. Victor stood up slowly. He looked around the clinic one more time, seeing the success that his daughter had built after he threw her away. So that's it? You won't help me? I help people every day, Elena said. I help people who are struggling, who are hurt, who need someone to believe in them. But I don't help people who only see me as useful when they need something. Victor walked toward the door, then stopped and turned back. I hope you're happy with your choice. I am, Elena said simply. For the first time in my life, I'm truly happy. After Victor left, Elena sat quietly for a few minutes. Marcus came over and put his hand on her shoulder. Are you okay? He asked. Elena looked up at him and smiled. I'm better than okay. I'm free. 5 years had passed since Elena's confrontation with her father. The Chen Rehabilitation Center now had 4 locations across the state. Elena had become one of the most respected names in rehabilitation therapy, not just locally but nationally. Medical schools invited her to speak about her innovative programs. Hospitals hired her as a consultant to improve their therapy departments. Elena sat in her office on the 3rd floor of the main clinic, reviewing applications for the scholarship program she had started 2 years earlier. The Elena Chen Foundation provided college scholarships for young people with disabilities who wanted to study healthcare, business, or engineering. This year, she had received over 300 applications for 20 scholarships. Marcus knocked on her door and entered with 2 cups of coffee. Even though the business had grown huge, they still made time to talk every morning before the day got busy. How are the applications looking this year? Marcus asked, settling into the comfortable chair across from her desk. Amazing, Elena said, holding up a file. This young woman lost her leg in a motorcycle accident. but she wants to become a biomedical engineer to design better prosthetics. And this man became deaf at age 16, but he's studying to be a therapist so he can help other people who lose their hearing. Marcus smiled. They remind me of someone I know. They're stronger than I was. They didn't have someone abandon them and tell them they were worthless, but they also don't have your business sense or your determination to help others. Elena looked out her window at the parking lot below, where patients were arriving for their morning appointments. Some walked in on their own. Others used wheelchairs or walkers, and some came with family members supporting them. All of them would leave feeling better about themselves and their futures. Do you ever think about what would have happened if Victor had never brought me to your clinic? Elena asked. Marcus considered the question. I think you would have found your way eventually. You're too smart and too strong to stay down forever. But it might have taken much longer, and I might never have discovered that I love helping people recover from injuries and disabilities. Their conversation was interrupted by Elena's assistant, Sarah, who knocked and entered with a nervous expression. Elena, there's a man downstairs asking to see you. He says he's your father. Elena felt her stomach tighten. She hadn't seen or heard from Victor since their meeting 5 years ago. Tell him I'm busy. He can make an appointment like everyone else. He looks very sick, Sarah said gently, and he's not demanding to see you like before. He's asking politely and saying he'll wait as long as necessary. Elena looked at Marcus, who shrugged. Your choice, he said. You don't owe him anything. Elena thought for a moment. Ask him to wait in the small conference room. I'll be down in 10 minutes. After Sarah left, Elena sat quietly. Marcus waited for her to speak. I'm curious, Elena finally said. Not because I miss him or want to help him, but because I want to see what he's become. That's fair. You're not the same person you were 5 years ago. Maybe he isn't either. Elena went downstairs and found Victor sitting in the conference room. Sarah was right, he looked very sick. He had lost a lot of weight. His skin was pale and thin, and he moved slowly like every motion hurt. He was wearing simple clothes instead of his usual expensive suits. Hello, Elena, Victor said when she entered. His voice was weak. Victor. Elena chose not to call him father. She sat across from him at the conference table, maintaining professional distance. Thank you for seeing me. I know you have every right to refuse. Elena studied his face. He looked genuinely humble, which was something she had never seen before. What do you want? I want to apologize. Really apologize, not just because I need something from you. I'm listening. Victor took a shaky breath. After our last meeting, I had a lot of time to think. My business has failed completely. I lost my houses, my cars, everything. I ended up living in a small apartment, working as a clerk in someone else's office. Elena showed no emotion. That must have been difficult for you. It was, but it taught me something I never understood when I was rich and powerful. I learned what it feels like to be dismissed by other people, to have them look at you like you're worthless. Victor paused, seeming to gather his strength. I realized that's how I treated you after your accident. I made you feel worthless because you couldn't do the things I thought were important, but I was wrong about what's important. Elena remained silent, letting him continue. I've been following your success from a distance. I've read every article about your work, watched videos of your speeches online. I'm proud of what you've accomplished, but more than that, I'm amazed by the person you've become. I became this person despite you, not because of you, Elena said calmly. I know, and that makes what you've done even more impressive. Victor reached into his pocket and pulled out a worn newspaper clipping. It was an article about Elena being named Business Person of the Year by the State Chamber of Commerce. I carry this with me, he said, not because I think I have any right to be proud of you, but because I want to remember what I threw away when I was too stupid and selfish to see your value. Elena looked at the old newspaper clipping, yellowed and creased from being folded and unfolded many times. Despite herself, she felt a small flicker of emotion. Why are you telling me this now? She asked. Victor's eyes filled with tears. Because I'm dying. I have cancer. The doctors say I have maybe 6 months left. Elena felt a complicated mix of sadness and detachment. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm not here to ask for money or help or forgiveness. I know I don't deserve any of those things. I just wanted you to know that I understand now what a terrible father I was, and how wrong I was about you. They sat in silence for a moment. Finally, Elena spoke. Do you know what the hardest part was? It wasn't being paralyzed. It wasn't losing the use of my legs. The The hardest part was believing that you were right about me being worthless. Victor wiped his eyes. I'm so sorry, Elena. I'm sorry for all of it. Elena studied her father's face. She could see that his apology was real, but she also knew that it didn't change anything fundamental between them. I appreciate your apology, she said, but I want you to understand something. I didn't build this life to prove you wrong. I built it because I found people who believed in me and helped me believe in myself. I found work that gives my life meaning. I found a family that actually loves me. Marcus. Yes, Marcus. And all the people who work here, and the patients we help, and the students in my scholarship program. They're my family now, Victor nodded sadly. I understand. I lost the right to be your family a long time ago. Elena stood up. I need to get back to work. We have a busy day today. Victor stood up slowly, using the table for support. Elena, can I ask you one thing? What? Are you happy? Really happy? Elena thought about the question. She thought about her successful business, her meaningful work, her relationship with Marcus, and all the people she had helped over the years. Yes, she said simply. I'm happy. Good. That's all I wanted to know. Victor walked slowly toward the door, then turned back one more time. For what it's worth, I think you're the strongest person I've ever known. I'm sorry it took me so long to see it. After he left, Elena stood at the window and watched him get into an old small car and drive away. She felt sad, but not for herself. She felt sad for him, for all the years he had wasted being angry and bitter, and for all the love he had thrown away. Marcus found her there a few minutes later. How was it? He asked. Sad, Elena said. He apologized, really apologized. But it doesn't change anything. Too much time has passed. Too much damage was done. Do you think he meant it? Yes, I think he did. But meaning it doesn't fix everything he broke. Over the following months, Elena heard from friends that Victor's condition was getting worse. She never visited him or called him. But she didn't feel guilty about that choice. She had built a good life without him, and she didn't need his approval or presence to feel complete. When Victor died 6 months later, Elena attended his funeral. She sat in the back of the small church and listened to the few people who spoke about him. Most of the stories were about his business success from years earlier. No one talked about him being a good father or a kind person. After the service, Elena visited his grave once. She didn't cry or feel angry. She just felt empty, like she was looking at the grave of a stranger who had happened to share her DNA. I forgive you, she said quietly to the headstone. Not because you earned it, but because carrying anger would only hurt me. Elena never visited the grave again. She had more important things to do with her life. The Elena Chen Foundation continued to grow. Her rehabilitation methods were being used in hospitals across the country. She had written 2 books about recovery and resilience that became bestsellers. But the thing Elena was most proud of was the letter she received on the 5-year anniversary of the foundation. It was from a young man named David who had received one of her scholarships after losing both legs in a military accident. Dear Ms. Chen, the letter said, I wanted you to know that I graduated from engineering school last month and got a job designing better wheelchairs. I know you probably don't remember me, but you saved my life when you gave me that scholarship. You showed me that